might be looking for an Azir first pick now that both Ryze, Orianna, and the Galio are gone. And top lane is a pretty interesting landscape right now because there's 5 champions banned from top lane at this moment. The Ambessa, the Sion, the Aatrox, and then Rumble and Renekton are gone thanks to that first game from Nongshim. So what do our solo laners look here, as they have been the biggest input in this series alone? Xiaohu versus Kalix, it feels like veteran versus a very, very fresh player to tier 1, and then Breathe versus Kingen, kind of a very weird matchup where Kingen is trying to win through the laning phase.
LeBlanc, Cassante, reflecting that solo lane sentiment there from you, Alk. So taking away some pretty big mainstays. Kalix loves the LeBlanc. Breathe is a big fan of the Cassante. Feel like it's got to be a jungle lean. We still have Xinzao up there. Oh, I totally forgot about the Shriven Emperor. So
I told you, Azir first pick.
Yeah, so Nongshim, why do Nongshim leave the Azir up? That is what I want to figure out as we move into their draft.
Maybe they've got something ready for us, right? Like Kalix?
Kalix zigs mid. He learned from Knight. Let's see. Let's see it.
Who knows? Kingen can also go for a bit of a blind somewhere here. Most likely what I'm going to expect from Nongshim is we're going to go mid-jungle on this 2. Going for the Talia. Not the most popular matchup as the year has gone by, especially Talia being hit with some nerfs. Her itemization's changed a little bit, but it was a very, very early answer into Azir. That was back in like February, March, so things might have changed between now and then.
Trundle going to be picked up here for Gideon, so a lot of skirmish threat coming through here early. Both of our games so far this series have been marred by some wackiness coming into the jungle, and Gideon has not been on the favorable side of it. The Trundle definitely a champion that can kind of combat that, and we're going to have Tian go for this Sejuani. All right, that is, I mean, a very mainstay tank facilitating pick, but definitely interesting given what other options were left up. Good to see them pair a melee with it, though, so it'll be Breathe with the Jax.
I love the Jax into Talia plus Trundle. I don't necessarily love the Sejuani into Trundle, but I mean, sure, you get to sap some of her Winter's armor from her passive, usually as an HP stacking tank, so kind of surprised to see it. It just seems like Weibo are falling back on old classics. Let's just play range. Let's play a good solid team fight. You are now disincentivized to play things like Jinx, as we can see here for Jiwoo, but kind of feels what I am getting from this Nongshim draft is now we are going for essentially a pick composition. We're going to try and blow up one member with a Trundle pillar, with Talia set up as well, and just let Jiwoo and hopefully the picks that come afterwards carry us through fights.
Let Jiwoo cook as a late game insurance policy has worked half the time. And it got close in game 1, so you can't ever hate doing that sort of move. But now we're going to start banning away facilitator picks. I really like that Jhin ban. I think this is a game where Light could have just played Jhin, sat back as like a facilitating piece with these deadly flourishes, and let Xiaohu and Breathe kind of run some of those fights. So I do like that ban already coming down. I am intrigued to see what we see from a Light champion pool now, because he's gotten a lot of his heavy hitters out of the way, especially with Corki game 1 and now the Jhin banned away. Wonder where he goes.
Honestly, this could just be an Ezreal game. Like, Ezreal versus this team. It will mean that you are not as able to kind of match the Jinx for the hyper carries. Yeah. Light and Crisp used to be a duo that would play Caitlyn Lux lanes a lot, but that has definitely fallen to the wayside.
Ezreal ban, though. Going to eliminate one of those options. They're trying to ban out for Lehends. Not really ban out for Lehends. They're trying to just cover the bases of really good pairings here with the Jinx. I do like floating that Leona ban. I think Leona, like you talked about, it's a pick comp initially to get the Jinx going. If you hit a Solar Flare stun and you get all that Trundle Talia magic behind it, it's a good setup. So taking the Leona out of this game is big. I feel like that's the one big engaged support left up besides the Rel floating around.
This is probably a Gragas top coming on through for Kingen. It has an okay matchup versus the Jax. Definitely has gotten a lot weaker. There's no Aatrox, you can't really play that. We've seen Kingen play the Gragas this tournament already. He's gonna go for the Gnar. Alright. So, decent enough team fighting. I'm a little worried for the Gnar in lane. Are we going to opt for a lane swap here from Weibo? Jax is a lot better at playing these than the Gnar, but depends on what the AD carry is going to be and what the supports are going to look like here, because Nautilus, in my mind, is really, really dangerous, but they're giving that R5, like we had mentioned, to Lehends. Oh, are we actually going to get the Caitlyn? Okay, that's one. We get Caitlyn Elise. Okay, so good into the Nocturne, or good into the Nautilus that I'm prepping here.
Yeah, that kind of takes a lot of the hook champion power out here for Lehends. We came into this final game 3 talking about Lehends, always creative, very wide champion pool, willing to try very non-traditional things. What do they do if they give him R5? Well, we are now here, and we were waiting with bated breath just like all you at home. There are so many ways this can go, and it'll go with the Rakan, which I do think isn't a bad look.
I mean, sure, it also is a champion that if you get hit with a cocoon, you don't have the natural tank stats that some of the other engaged supports have, so you will just get blown up. Let's see if Weibo's composition works. This is all about range. This is all about the keep away. Let's see if we can keep our opponents at arm's length away from us so that our Azir can hit, our Caitlyn can fire those headshots. And for Nongshim, it's basically, can we get one good team fight where our Jinx gets to pop off and run through the rest of this team? I don't know if she has the ability to play with the range, and if she has the front line that is required for this Jinx to be able to thrive.
You know, it's very, intriguing about that point you just made there, Ulk, is that those were the two things, the two markers that we didn't feel like Jiwoo had on the Yunar in game 1. Those two exact ones, range and front line.
Very true. All right. We're getting into game number 3. As all of our series here in the knockout stage will be best of 3s until the grand finals, which is a best of 5. And whoever wins this match has to play later tonight. They have to play against the winner of DK versus B&K FearX, which very, very long day for all of our teams competing. And this is a double elim bracket, so at least a second life being on the table here for these two.
No elimination, but a chance to be a series away from that best of 5 that Ulk is talking about, because by the end of today, we will have one half of that ASI Grand Final matchup. Will it be either of our two teams here? Will it be Weibo bringing some LPL pride through with all the chips stacked in the LCK favor? We will have to see as we return to a very familiar battle arena once more. We go live to Summoner's Rift. And I'm just prepping more jungle shenanigans, but calmer waters showing for now with a pretty traditional fan start across the board. As I say that, though, Light and Chris take the opportunity to set up shop in these brushes that are going to torment Lehends and Jiwoo all lane long.
That's the whole point. Let's just get Jiwoo behind early. Xiaohu gets a massive chunk done onto him. He's going to have to take a recall. He might just lose out on a large portion of the early wave. Does he opt to stay?
Looks like he will hang around for now. Oh my god, we talked about it. I spoke it into existence. Hulk. Treacherous brushes tormenting Nongshim's bottom lane. Lehends burns the heal. Crisp gets that one out, and just like you called, Hulk, Rakan cannot tank up a Cocoon Elise Caitlyn combo very well.
You can see that Breathe. He's on vision this time around. Breathe will now know. But when you have when you have the Counter-Strike, it's very tough for Kingen to opt in. Interesting builds coming on through. This is obviously we've seen Electrocute for at least in the past before, but this is a Grasp of the Undying on Jax. Not used to what I'm seeing, so maybe just recognizing that short trades are probably going to be better. I don't think you can really opt into longer trades versus what Nongshim are showing, and especially in the laning phase. So 2 lanes at really weird timers here. It is going to be Jiwoo actually picking up a large portion of the first 2 waves by himself, with Lehends taking an early recall.
And we've got both jugglers mirroring so far. They're both pathing down. That's going to give a lot more power to GIDEON on the Crab. The Trundle much more strong in that aspect. But like you mentioned, I wonder if Tian wants to get aggressive with how much bottom lane prio there is. Hasn't decided to skip any camps yet. That's Jiwoo's cleanse out from a Cocoon. Wow, a lot of respect towards Crisp.
Always got to be careful, especially when you're under turret. I was like, oh, I don't know if we're really looking for this. Chris trying to play in Fog of War, but a single ward there from Nongshim is going to make sure that they know something is going on here. He will also spot Gideon thanks to the Scryer's Bloom. And without this cleanse, Jiwoo does need to be very careful. Anytime that there is a human form Elise, and if they have control of the brushes, every brush could potentially be a stun. There's the cocoon going wide as I say it. And
here's Tian.
Tian just keep using his bottom lane prio.
All right, so should be able to lock up this crab. They do have mid lane prio. Kalix roams over first, and all right, Lehends and Jiwoo are going to sacrifice some control to try and stop it, but one smite from Tian, and he gets the bot crab. And looks to advance further here with the cover of Crisp. The power of a Caitlyn Elise lane, but I will say Nongshim have done a pretty good job respecting it so far. It's a decent CS lead, but things have gone a lot worse into a Caitlyn Elise bottom lane.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All things considered, we come back from the early laning phase. Obviously, Xiaohu got chunked out early, but he's fine. He's just now teleporting back into lane. Lehends got chunked out, but it seems like the experience has really started to even out. A good trade coming on through from Lehends and Jiwoo onto this Elise. So it is a massive experience and goal differential. Not experience, but goal differential between our 80 carries. We need to see Light have a big performance here in this game, who throughout the year we've had a lot of criticisms for this player.
A lot of criticisms for a lot of this roster, but Weibo have shown a sort of seventh gear to lean into here. So ever since the D plus Kia series win, it felt like they can compete with the best in this tournament. And they're trying to do it again with this bottom lane aggression. Good job there from Chris with the repel. Gets out of the grand entrance. So we do see the first set backs coming through for some of these junglers, and the first Drake hitting the rift. Always a threat with this Trundle. Kind of just burn through that dragon on your own. We'll see if Gideon ever feels like he's in a space to do that, but it all revolves around the bottom lane. Everything about this game right now being warped by the CS lead that Light and Crisp has built up. Light is also going to get himself a solo plate right in the face of Jiwoo and Lehends laying down these traps. It is just Light dictating everything right now in the bot lane.
This is good. He's getting plates. He's up 500 gold, but it's what you do with this gold that is important. Xiaohu does not get the sweep down onto Kalix, but it's his flash 2 minutes before the grub spawn. I think that is a good timer coming on through for Weibo.
Revisit that indeed. So we do have Tian nearby covering. Xiaohu's going to take that base. Doesn't have the recall. Wonder if Tian will look to try and start up this dragon. We saw last game that we had a 12-minute first Drake. Soul wasn't really a big factor, but then again, Soul is winless in this series. So keep that one in mind going forward. Grub's still about 2 minutes out, so not going to be much here. I'm curious to see what Chris wants to do, though, right? Because they've gotten a huge lead for Light. I think he's pretty comfortable in this lane unless he really misplays. So where can Chris go to try to further accentuate this lead here for Weibo in the early phase? Good little dodge there from Lehends, but he is going to have to flash. Tian predicts it, gets the stun. One more auto from Light with the lethal tempo. No,
he's
and
dead.
The turret's actually going to get Lehends first blood. Oh, Light.
Yep, that's the problem. We still haven't recalled here. Jiwoo gets this wave to himself, even gets the cancel Tian. I would have loved to have seen Light and this bottom lane move into topside, muscle away this Gnar, because you know that you have an advantage. You know that Jinx is weak. And, I mean, she only has... Oh, God, Breathe is probably dead too now.
Yeah, pillar for the slow. Breathe doesn't even flash. Oh, guys saw the vision too. You just move the power lane topside. You switch the map, give Breathe some more space, but it all comes crashing down.
All right, it's just 2 kills, and still I think Weibo are in a decent enough position to still be able to fight. Remember, all of the gold still onto Light here for Weibo Gaming, and it was Lehends that picked up that first kill. So not going to, I think, move the needle all that much, just kind of an action that ends up slowing the game down in favor of Nongshim. So we get set up around this objective. Let's take stock of what we have. We have no flash on Kalix and Lehends for Nongshim, and for Weibo, I mean, you basically have everything back up, and now it's Breathe who's teleporting down onto the bottom side. So I still think that Nongshim have a bit of work to be able to get done here, And we haven't even considered the fact that Xiaohu will have his ultimate for this play.
Tian sitting on his. That's the big threat to Kalix. He has to respect whenever the Elise and Caitlyn are together. There's a lot of burst potential. Kingen flanking around in Mininar form. Gideon and Lehends are leading a bit of a charge. It's a Weaver's Wall coming down to try and trap Tian, and we might have to see one of those flashes come off the board. Or Tian just dodges any sort of crowd control and walks right back in to the belly of the beast. First grub down there. Kingen going to get engaged on with that Glacial Prison. Lehends gets a two-man knockup, though, onto Light and Chris. The rocket sinks through. Kingen is not going to be able to transform pretty soon here. Light is going to have to flash over the wall. The pillar, though, is really well placed there from Gideon. And the gold-leading Light Caitlyn is cut down.
That's 2 kills now. Let's go look at bottom side. Breathe just got himself a plate. I don't think that's going to be enough here. Nongshim should get 3 grubs during all of this. And we did not get to see Xiaohu, the man in the mid lane, step up for his team. I don't even think he was necessarily marked away by Jiwoo, but didn't get time to really find a sweep. Maybe they catch Lehends here, but he still has his battle dance, everything. It'll be a single grub that does go over to Weibo, but this is the value that Trundle, I always talk about. Trundle Pillar, man. One of the most broken basic abilities in the game. It gives you a slow, it gives you terrain that you have to walk around, and there, it ends up trapping Light.
Really big there for Nongshim. Yeah. The Trundle Pillar is such a high value.
I want him to summon a pillow for me. I think it'd actually be pretty bad considering our track record here for ASI. We should not be summoning up Trundle pillows.
No, I'm not summoning that anytime soon. I have to back up team play-by-play as we're the only team of the 3 teams on broadcast that has not suffered a night time. Rafa, if you're listening, lock in, all right? Just remember that going forward. What I wanted to say, though, you talked about how Trundle Pillar is a really powerful basic ability. You know what I do think is sneakily powerful about our support matchup and Lehends getting that 1 kill? It's because Crisp is on this Elise, the most broken support item ever. Redemption's not even coming from Crisp. And now you give that 1 kill over to Lehends. He is going to get to that redemption a bit earlier. I'm curious to see how much value that will bring as an item to these fights for Nongshim.
Okay, so it's going to be Tian getting here. I mean, right now what we're kind of looking at is whether or not Nongshim can get to 2 items, because Jinx would be really strong. Caitlyn is still waiting to finish a collector here. They're taking control of mid.
All right.
Oh, icy cold. Oh
my God, Xiaohu. Dodges the hard abilities, walks into the bright light of the chopper.
The hands are ice cold. All right. This is problematic now because Gideon's going to come over. He has a Sheen. All this does is prevent Xiaohu from recalling. This could be potentially 3 turret plays going over with these 2 grubs. That's a pretty big win in my book if you're Nongshim.
What can Chris really do to stop this? To try and clear the way with Spiderlings? Yeah, I think he's just a bystander. This is going to be first turret. All of those, wow, that gold lead really just balloons out of nowhere. 1,000 gold up for Nongshim, and again, they're the comp that has a decent amount of late game insurance policies and later stage team fighting for them. Mainly Kingen and Jiwoo, who both are now back up ahead in gold alongside all of Nongshim, and Kingen starting to win some of these trades and to breathe as well. This is, again, the spot of the last two games where we were most worried about Weibo. It didn't cost them in Game 1 thanks to some fantastic team fighting. It dropped them quickly in Game 2. What do we have in store for us in our final match?
I don't want to get it twisted for everyone at home. I still do think that Weibo win the game if we go later. You just have so much range because of the Azir, and hopefully you get to have a stopping measure with having the Sejuani on your team. Breathe has to be careful. There's not enough members. Tian is coming, so is Chris, but they're going to be very late to this play. No Mega here for Kingen anymore.
Okay, Kingen trying to use Lehends as a body block. He's going to walk back through the turret. Tian is here. Good double hop, though. Gideon going to get re-engaged on. Uses the subjugate onto Tian, and that's going to really shut down any sort of re-engage here from Chris or Breathe, knowing they can't get through all those resistances, and it's more turret plates farmed up here as Kalix is trying to pigeonholes Xiaohu in, knowing he doesn't have that Emperor's Divide. Xiaohu does have the ult coming back up shortly. Will he look to get crafty here out of the brush? Waiting for Kalix to step forward. There's the seismic shove missed. Xiaohu.
No!
Right. Okay.
Oh!
It was all bait. Light drops the ace of the hole, gets the kill on the bot side. We see Jiwoo. Oh boy, they're gonna get the jinx, the reset. There it goes. Jiwoo gets excited. Breathe. You cannot hold on to that flash much longer, my friend. Trundle Pillar's gonna force it out. Lehends goes after him for a grand entrance. It's a little short, and Kingen doesn't even double hop over the wall. So it's a 1-for-1 across the map.
All right, come on. Xiaohu, how much gold are we getting on the opposite side? We're not hitting this turret. We're not finishing this off. Side lane gold for Azir is nice. He'll finish his first item coming out of base here. This has to be an Asher suit. That's good. This is a good, I guess, recompense for what has been going on. Breeze should be able to survive. There's a Hellbar behind.
Xiaohu, he held on to his ultimate, and Hardbar into 2, though. Breathe is fine. Crisp has the repel if he needs it, does get knocked up, or maybe he doesn't have the repel. He's cut down first. Xiaohu has to use the Emperor's Divide defensively, but the Trundle Pillar and the power of Jinx. Xiaohu's flank is brought to a grinding halt, and Nongshim turn their attention to more turret plates, and they're actually going to lose the plating now. They're just going to pick up this bot tier 1. Nongshim have so much more real estate on the map right now. Oh, it's getting worse.
Slayer, you know what I just realized? If this wasn't just LPL English, we could be, we can be a little balanced about this. This is basically a Nongshim 3-0. If they win this game. If they win this game, this series is essentially a 3-0.
If you go by minutes ahead of the games, yeah, it doesn't look good for Weibo. I think they've been ahead in, what do we want to give them?
Like 1.5. I'll say 1.5 game. 1.5 games they've been ahead at 15.
Okay. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Surely, it's so funny, right? Because I'm glad you corrected me. The range and the Azir, Jax, even the Caitlyn items, there is scaling here. But I am also looking at an Elise, and I don't know if it's just like having to watch Yanni Turbo lose on Elise after the first 15 minutes.
He griefed me today, bro. He griefed me on this champion today. He was very old on the Elise.
It's just, all right, we'll save those discussions. Tian, the only tank? Yep, blown up. Jiwoo gets the reset. A lot of damage out of Light on the backside. Kalix flashes out, but he's on vision. Ace in the hole. Light gets a kill back here, but the problem is Jiwoo is accelerated, and Breathe is the next one to learn to pay the toll. Nice little slam there from Kingen, and there's nothing for Light to do. Flash doesn't matter. It's a 3-for-1 special here for Nongshim on kills.
They just don't have very much proactive engage. The only thing that Weibo can do is throw out a Sejuani ult. Maybe they land a cocoon. This is the same problem we saw from Game 1, but from Nongshim's perspective, where they have great team fighting abilities, but the actual ability to step forward and walk in, Trundle plus Rakan is really good, and Lehends is making this game look easy for his team here. He gets the knock up onto Tian, corrals him into one side. They get to set up with this ult from this knock up from Kalix. Even if he does go down, triple kill coming on through for Jiwoo is exactly what they need. It's 4 kills for free going over to Nongshim.
And now they continue their assault. See if the second dragon gets started up. That should be a freebie for GIDEON. And I want to point out the turret the disparagement of turrets on the map as well. All these little pick plays in the jungle, these don't happen if you don't knock down the 3 first turrets. So it's really hampering Weibo's ability to set up because they constantly have to be clearing out vision in their own jungle, looking out for Lehends in their own jungle. This Trundle, this Jinx, this Talia that could pop out from anywhere. It's what really slows down any comeback mechanics for this one. And, well, a pillar wall combination. Nongshim are really dialed in on the terrain advantages they have in this matchup.
I think that the fact that we're looking for a fast play like that from Kalix is really heads up from him. They're going to summon the Herald in mid, just corral them away from the mid lane. Maybe they even get themselves an excited proc here. See that Jiwoo is connecting with the rest of the team as GIDEON wants to look for something, but it is Breathe on a side lane. Try to finish this turret. He'll get it with the Demolish proc and the almost Trinity Force he has. It is going to be an objective bounty going over to Weibo, but they're losing everything else around the map. A turret falls in mid for Jiwoo.
That is a plus gold trade. Crystal going to try and blow him up. Redemption value. There it is for Lehends. But Glacial Prison is much better. Jiwoo flashing away, but Chris will follow with the repel, and Lehends is going to get bailed out by another clutch Trundle pillar, but that is a good way to trade back the Tier 2 gold that Jiwoo just gained by shutting him down.
They're not going to get anything for this. At most, what I expect is that Xiaohu will get this top tier 1. Maybe Kalix ends up teleporting after he finishes his blue buff. This is nothing here for Weibo. There's still 2 minutes before an Otacon even spawns here, so it's a minor win. Jiwoo no flash is something that can be punished, but I have just not seen enough here from Weibo. Maybe on these second items, they'll feel a lot more powerful. Xiaohu, if he gets a second item on this Azir, Caitlyn's looking like they're getting closer and closer to that Infinity Edge. There could be an angle, but it's becoming more and more desperate with a 4,000 gold lead here for Nongshim.
And they're targeting more turrets here. They're pushing Gideon onto this bot side lane with Kalix to try and threaten it, or maybe just cover Kalix from a breathe all in. Most of the attention for Nongshim is going to come into this Otacon that will be spawning on that top side in about a minute's time. And they've got some second items they'd like to get through by this point as well. We see that Kalix recalls to get a couple big key components for what I believe will be maybe a Rallies. There's a lot of things Blasting Wand and Sealed Spellbook will go for. Jiwoo, though, going to get on to that Immortal Shield Bow second item. Definitely not your normal Jinx path. Or that's not Immortal Shield Bow, that's LDR.
Yes.
Whoops.
But we could expect a Shield Bow maybe later in the game. Probably is just going to be the Rylai's, though, for Xiaohu. I think the slows versus this team get a lot of value, so it makes sense there. We're in very dangerous territory. I feel like Weibo lose one more big team fight around an objective, and I struggle to see them winning this game. They've got a little bit of groundwork with a small leash given to them by Nongshim, but Otacon spawns in 20 seconds. Dragon spawns in 2 minutes. I'm struggling to see if they can necessarily gather the amount of resources required to be able to fight. Maybe with Xiao on a side lane. He's basically the most fed member for this team, and he's going to have to carry them.
By the way, I want your take on this because I always gauge my takes on some of these builds by what you think of them. All right, we might not have time.
Okay.
Hold on.
Maybe.
I love the Spear of Visage second from Gideon. I think it's actually really cracked. Mainly because you're looking at Elise, Jax has some AP, and then Azir. And then also, there's no heal cut, so that Subjugate will actually heal you a lot with the Spear Visage. So we'll see how
the Spear Visage plus his W giving him an increased healing as well. He's pretty dangerous to deal with. I like the shout out there. This Otacon is for free. Unless Tian makes a miracle steal, which we've seen time and time again.
Nice Weaver's Wall.
Oh,
and he gets flicked, but he gets close enough. Oh my god, that went down to 1,300. They do flick Kingen back, but he just hops back over the wall and follows the rest of his team. And now Gideon's unleashed. Running down light. The Rocket's going to go wide, but the Otacon secured there by Nongshim, and they'll just set right back into their oppressive side lane set.
There it is. Talia Wall pulls him on forward. Now, I won't consider that a big team fight loss, but it was the Otacon, and now they have 36 petals, which, if you don't know, if you have the Otacon and you have above 30, you will get increased value from the Spirit Petals, giving you a little bit more experience, a little bit more adaptive force, as long as it's above 30. So, good job for Nongshim. They get to leapfrog over their opponents when it comes to experience, especially Kingen, who's about to be 3 levels over Breathe.
Not a good recipe for this Jax that really needs those levels.
Damn.
And just time to scale here. Time to start knocking on more turrets. Gideon loves swinging that club at structures. Bot lane tier 2 to go to the wayside. And you're starting to see the, oh my god, the power that Xiaohu is not able to wield, losing his flash now. The power for Crisp. It's so hard to play this Elise out once these comps just group up. Oh, it does set up for a good headshot, so at least Light gets 1 kill back. It supports traded. Oh my god, Light's damage is ludicrous onto Kingen. Gideon having to block the ace of the hole, or that would have been a double up.
Well, all of the experience. Look at the boots here from Nongshim. It's MR, MR, and then MR here for Lehends. There is no armor here coming on through from Nongshim, so they think the most important members are going to be Tian and Xiaohu here. Maybe even trying to stop a little bit of that damage from Crisp. It's the Dragon going over to our LCK's representative. And while it is a single kill onto Lehends, I don't think it's going to be worth it there. And now, Slayer, we are looking towards the Baron in 2.5 minutes from here on out. How much more time can we get from Weibo to stall this one? It isn't a Rylai's from Xiaohu. It looks like it is just going to be a Void Staff here, pretty interesting. Kind of a reflection of what the builds are looking like right now, but if they lose this Baron to Nongshim, I just don't know how much time we are willing to give to our opponents, because we're very closely getting to 3 items here for some of the carries on Nongshim.
And the rallies for Kalix is super valuable to try and cut down some of that range. He hits any of these spells, you get the slow, and you cut down that gap much quicker. Nongshim, still pretty antsy, still want to play with what they deem to be a pretty significant lead, so they're going to overload back towards the top side again. I think, oh, hold on. They get the cocoon onto Kalix into Glacial Prison, but he flashes back. There isn't enough damage coming through from Xiaohu. They're going to get the flank onto Breathe. Kalix is in desperate danger. Nongshim, can they even rescue this at all? No. They're going to have to secede their mid laner. It took all 5, but Weibo get themselves another valuable pick.
That was a lot of summoner spells used as well. Crisp Heal, the Ghost from Light, as well as the Teleport there from Breathe. It does mean that Kalix will not have Flash for this Baron and the Dragon that spawns after it. All this is just a moment of reprieve. Now there's a numbers advantage on the map at any point here for Weibo. All they need to do is just slow things down. Generate a lead for yourself. Now it is 2-item Azir. Maybe there's a little bit more game to play, but I still have yet to see a part of this game number 3 where Weibo convincingly look like the better team.
And on top of that, it's still a lot more time before Breathe becomes a raid boss Jax. I think he is the one quietly just a lot farther behind the 8-ball. Tian, again, is the one with the biggest gold discrepancy, but this is a Sejuani. The value of Sejuani at 2 items, the gold leads don't matter. You're getting the same thing out of Sejuani. Breathe can't really be a side lane threat right now, and he can't be one of those like flanking big-time Jax team fighters. All that culminating with just the solo lanes for Weibo in general being behind the curve. Yeah, it's a time game, and they're about to get sped. The clock is about to get sped up because Baron is here. Nongshim won't have the side lanes in the best spot. Xiaohu's now going to reset, but GIDEON doesn't care.
Xiaohu can teleport for this play. Kingen also will not have Mega Gnar for this, so this is now a window for Weibo to try to get into the pit here. Tian's moving up forward with Breathe. Crisp is right behind him, and Xiaohu is just now entering the play. Baron might go over.
Oh, Tian, though. Look, he's trapped up next to the pillar. GIDEON just needs to finish the Baron. Tian can't get in. He tries to fly aggressively, but it goes down. And Jiwoo gets excited off the Baron and doubles up on the kill on top of Tian. Charm knock up onto Light. That was a served up supper for GIDEON to munch down on, courtesy of Lehends. Breathe with the Counter-Strike stun is just going for a desperate play. It's Xiaohu with a huge flick back, but it was too little, too late, and they might have just signed their death warrant with the solos dropping. Nongshim may have sputtered in game 1, but they've looked dominating ever since, and they will go to the upper semifinals of the Asia Invitational with a game 3 win over Weibo.
That's going to be Nongshim going and waiting for tonight's opponents. BNK Fearex versus D plus Kia. And now Weibo waiting for either of these opponents in the lower bracket. Congratulations over to them. Swap back to our lovely faces. Technically the wrong lovely faces, as I meant the live view. Boom. But still, I still feel like that was a BNK or a Nongshim 3-0. They won basically 3 out of the 3 early games for the most part. They tripped and fumbled in game number 1, obviously, but I don't know. That was a, you know what? That was the Weibo that we were expecting coming into this tournament.
Yeah, it was. They tried to deceive us, but just a lot of disconnection. They just never really got to, I don't know. I kind of hated Tian playing Sejuani, and this is why. I think the team has no real oomph unless he like can lead with some damage, you know? It's just tank Sejuani, like he can find these angles, but it doesn't look pretty unless the rest of the team is behind him. I'll give you some time to break that down. I need a prop for the rest of this post.
Go for it. Go for it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, Tian didn't really get to play the game in a lot of instances. We also saw Xiaohu stay on a side lane and then not interact with the team. You're trying to hide the prop, okay? All right.
Did you see the prop?
I didn't see the prop, but I hope it's
Okay.
a really big Diet Coke can that you're clenching between your cheeks to bring on the show.
It wasn't between my cheeks.
Okay.
Hey, yo. This is really how we're gonna end off my last. This is
Yes.
This is my last. I know I said it like 4 times during the end of the fall, but this is actually my last LPL English broadcast. We're talking about things between my cheeks. Thanks, Super Trooper, Alk, and producer Alk, and co-colorcaster Alk.
All right. What's
and
the prop?
and Unk Alk, because you just had your birthday.
How old are you, Slayer?
I look 32, but I am 24.
Okay. All right.
Chat
All right,
won't
fair
believe
play.
me on that one.
Chat will
I
not
promise.
believe you. I'm sorry. You should. You know you should do. You should take a picture of your ID and you should show it right in front of the camera.
You know what
Very
the funniest
clearly.
part? You know what the funniest part is? My ID. Might just be a California thing. My ID is still vertical. It's the one that I got when I got my first driver's license. I actually have to get it updated now.
Oh.
So my ID has 16-year-old Slayer on
I
it.
used to. My vertical ID is somewhere, but that's actually just because it was an identification card, not a
driver's license.
A driver's license.
Yeah, my driver's license.
Thank you to Florida. Anyway,
Just
what's the prop? What's the prop? What are we? Do you want us
No.
to wait until afterwards?
No, it's
or?
later. It's later.
Okay.
I'll time it up.
Okay.
I'll time it up. I should just gotten it earlier. I mean, we cycle through. Listen, guys, these highlights are pretty one-sided. Like Dongshim, is that how Jiwoo died? He stepped onto a trap. He had no idea he was looking at. That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
That's something funny.
This is how they kind of got back into the game, but it felt like every time that Weibo tried to find something, the next 3 minutes afterwards, this is the most tragic part. Like, they have very little vision. There's no help here. There's so much focus from Weibo to try to get on the Nongshim, but it just wasn't enough. And I think we can say that about a lot of Weibo's games. It's just not enough. Not enough of either getting our jungle support to move around, not enough of Light having an advantage with this Caitlyn and Elise.
You know what? What I learned here was that never pick Elise support.
True. I tried to tell Yanni earlier, but that didn't work.
You could tell him with more power if you get hired as positional coach, because
There you go.
I also campaign against the Elise because I don't want to play next to it.
There you go.
All right, what are we thinking MVP here for the last one of this series? I mean, is this a team MVP? It feels like a team MVP if you could give
It
one
might
out.
be a team MVP. It's probably going to be a Kingen MVP, though.
Okay. Yeah,
Kingen
I
or
mean,
GIDEON? I don't know.
I think it might be GIDEON. I mean, GIDEON's stat line was pretty gross.
Yeah.
I almost want to give it to him just for the Spirit Visage second. I actually love that.
Here we
I
go.
loved it more because Alk supported it. That's always good to have your opinions tied to other people's opinions. Hey, there we go. GIDEON gets it. All right. MVP to GIDEON gets on the board there, and Nongshim are on to the semifinals. Congratulations to them. We will see them later tonight. And by we, I'm talking about you in the LPL English. I am not talking about myself and Alk, as Alk thankfully gets to retire half of his job tonight. He will be dipping out as co-caster. We will be bringing in Rafa and K-Man, and this is the best part of the night for me personally as I come to a close. That means that I get to use one of these things, a pillow, and none of our other casters do. So wake up wide, Rafa and K-Man, because after this break, we're coming to you guys live for D plus Kia versus BFX.